Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Gonna be doing the live stream solo. Matt is busy. He has our stuff going on, and you know didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So we're gonna be doing just a few, probably like about an hour or so, going through some of the things going on and just hanging out with you guys, checking out the questions and such. Hope that's okay. So let me go through the messages here already. Waiting in the Balkans this week. Unified behavioral theory. Okay, I hope you're having fun over there in the Balkans. They, them, yeah. Good afternoon, Patriots. Thanks to Fernando and Matt. Yeah, it's going to be putting the phone on mute just to keep that from happening. So yeah, just keeping up with the news on the volcano stuff, some of the things going on around the world. Fernando needs to get on Gab, yo, says the spirit. Look, I I can't get on. There's just so much time that I have during the day, and I wish I could do everything. I just can't, man. I barely keep up with this, with my Spanish channel and some of the other stuff and family. So yeah, it's pretty busy already as it is. As I always say, keep in mind that the channel is constantly uploaded over to Odyssey. So anything goes on, and it's just a good idea. Just go to Odyssey and sign up over there just in case. You know how things are with YouTube. YouTube is really cracking down on anything that goes against their mainstream globalist crap. So now it's, well, you cannot even talk about certain things, which is quite sad. And yeah, not a lot of freedom to go around, guys. That's simply the way it is. Not a lot of freedom, really. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I hope, and I'll be brutally honest with you guys. This is on your side, guys. This is something that I've noticed particularly bad in anything that comes out from US. I mean, YouTube. If I do something, let me give you an example. If I do something in my Spanish channel, there's a good chance I'll get away with it. I do it in the English channel, I'm usually screwed. So it's obvious that the crackdown is from that area. It comes from that place. It's something that you don't see a whole lot elsewhere. It's just the way it is. Just got back. Where is Matt? Yeah, Matt is busy with some stuff. So let's give him some time to, yeah. Fernando, authorized Gab chatbot. I don't know what that is. Yeah. They never mentioned the New World Order. Do they know? I don't know if it's the New World Order or it's the old order that's always been there, and they're just getting worse and worse about it and just cracking down on freedom. But it is quite brutal. We're getting to a point where it just, I mean, for example, with the YouTube stuff, the idea of not being able to talk about the things you want to talk, and especially things that are important, ongoing events, Seeking freedom. Great Trump rally in Perry, Georgia yesterday. Okay, glad you had a good time. Someone not too long ago said this about the New World Order. U.S. has more people and more funds, busybodies everywhere. I think that's one of the big problems is that the U.S. government, it's huge and it has a lot of power. And I don't know exactly so as to pinpoint exactly when things got this, but I think you could track it. Even ever since the Patriot Act that just flew below the radar, and people were like, yeah, freedom, who wants it? I mean, it's going to be just fine. No, it's not. It definitely was not going to be just fine. I guess that was one of those key moments. And then with 9/11, for security, we're going to be just taking more and more away of your freedoms. And it got to this point where, man, it's not that you're just self-censoring. You're directly being censored. I mean, as it happens so many times here on the channel, we've been censored live while talking with Matt here. It is unbelievable. I never thought we'd get to this point. It is understandable that if you're talking about things, illegal activities and so on, so sure. Now, talking about things that you don't agree with and you just get pulled off the air, that is insane. That's Nazi Germany kind of crap. So it's where we are. And you know what? Again, being brutally honest with you guys, they know how to play the right. Because the moment they say, well, this is a private company, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Screw you. The moment where you feel like taking advantage of people, it's no longer that private entity anymore, and they're not held to the same rules as every other private entity or private company. So they're private when they feel like being private, and they use the government as to hit you over the head with their power whenever they feel like as well. Should get on Rumble. This is what I'm talking about. William B. Carr. I'm already on Rumble. You know who checks Rumble? No one. I mean, I bet you don't even go to Rumble. I have like 60 people in Odyssey and Rumble. I'll give you the numbers right now. Just so as to go to Rumble. Okay, you know how many people I have in Rumble right now? That's unfortunately the thing. So it's fine to be in these places, but if people, I have 356 subscribers in Rumble. Okay, so if I have 356 subscribers in Rumble, I can expect doing a live stream in Rumble to have maybe 10 guys following me over there. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? Rumble is hard to search. Yeah, and it doesn't work all that great. Rumble, not born in a day. Whenever I upload anything, I mean, Odyssey has this cool thing where you can just keep on doing your YouTube thing, and it automatically uploads it to Odyssey. That makes things easier. But with Rumble, I don't know how many hours I spend trying to upload something that takes 10, 50 times more than YouTube. And after maybe 5 hours of uploading something, it just gives me an error, and I just wasted so much time trying to upload something, then checking on it, it just goes to crap, and same old. So yes, it's kind of you were incorporated in 1870. Yeah. This thing is nothing compared to what's coming. I think that it's all the same thing. It's loss of liberty and freedom all around, man. It is pretty bad. And the Anglo-American establishment, there's a lot to that there. This is, guys, I'll be honest, it's particularly bad in US. It's that is the focus. America is a focus point of all this police state crap. UK is borrowing and copying you guys quite a bit. It's really not all the same everywhere. I mean, I can definitely tell you there's huge differences in what's going on right now. It's not the same. I was just watching Black Pigeon Speaks, the Spanish, not the Spanish, the YouTube version of Black Pigeon Speaks. What is it? It has it goes like with another name. Let me look that up. So it's not Black Pigeon. It's Black. No, he goes with another name. Anyway, he has like a couple of different channels or whatever. Anyway, one of the things I disagree with him, he says that it's this. He was talking about this stuff, right? About control, about police state. Felix Rex, thanks, man. So in Felix Rex, he was talking about one of his I think it was today's video. I'll look it up just to get the name right because I don't want to get it wrong. So yeah, Felix Rex. So on today's video, he's talking about United States, why identity politics. So the title of the video is this United States, why identity politics are the future, right? And he goes on about this, and he's absolutely right. The thing he's obviously not right about, and I can tell you because he clearly thinks it's the same everywhere. He talks about US, UK, and then he says like Europe. You don't understand the difference. And you know what is that you don't understand? One of the things that you'll never see elsewhere, I mean, I don't know, even in UK, you won't see this thing about people that hate their country, about, bending a knee doing the national anthem. That's something, or just, having that kind of hate towards your country. That is not just not happening. That is just social murder in pretty much every other country that I know of. Do that crap in Argentina, you'll never be allowed to speak in public again. No one's going to be listening to you. No one's going to be paying attention. And you do the same thing in pretty much any other country I could think of. Across Europe, you would not get away with being anti-French or anti-German, or you do not get away with that. But you do get away with that in the United States. That chick from the Olympics, that she got upset and was insulted by the national anthem during, that's not acceptable anywhere else. So it's a self-destruction that just it's very toxic, and it's one of the main reasons why you see what you see going on right now. But it's not all the same. It's not the same everywhere. Look, same thing goes for what I'm seeing right now in UK. I actually have family over there, right? And they're telling me the problems with fuel, the problems with food shortages and such, and they're telling them, oh, it's the same everywhere. No, it's not. I actually went yesterday to a store, to two different groceries, supermarket. I could not find a single spot that was missing even a can of tomato sauce. Nothing. It was not a single. And the same thing cannot be said of what's happening over there. There was no one filling up on gas. There was no shortage of any kind. So this idea that everything is the same everywhere, no, it's not. Not everything is the same everywhere. There's things in common, and there's things that just are not happening elsewhere. But that's one of the ways in which they normalize that which should not be normal. They're normalizing things. Oh, it happens everywhere. No, it does not. Some things do happen, but not in the same level. Not acceptable here, J.A. Where are you, man? Yeah, that is very American right now. The idea of, I'm an Olympic athlete representing my country, and I turn around and say, fuck you, I hate my country. What is that? I mean, where's that coming from? It just would not be. That's the kind of, that would be. It would end your career in a place like Argentina, where they think of it like in football, what you heathens call soccer. If someone from the national football team would say something, even the slightest, little criticism against the country, you would not be able. I mean, you could literally get murdered right there in the field by fans. It is that much of a big deal. So that's why we don't get it. We don't understand it. Destroy pride in one's nation to encourage a world state. Well, yes, but again, I insist on this. Destroy national. You are not doing this in pretty much any other country I can think of. UK would be the country that copies you guys the most. I guess it's a language thing. I don't know. Let me know anyone in Canada. Do you see anything like this in Canada? Like a Canadian saying, Canada's crap, it's such a racist country, I hate Canada, as a Canadian competing and representing your country? Olympics are UN propaganda. Olympics are older than you think, man. They're quite a bit older than that. But and Olympics, it's exactly one of those things that you're representing your country. And here is where you see what everyone stands for. Someone that goes to the Olympics and insults their own country, I don't think from any other nation you wouldn't get away with that. this is anti-patriotism in America. Probably last 3 or 4 years. Probably yes. It wasn't that way before. I mean, it was always, most Americans that I know. I mean, pretty much all. I don't know. I mean, of course, the kind of people I get along with would be more like-minded, and I don't know a single person that just hates his own country like that. So. And most of the friends that I have that are Americans are either military prepper kind of stuff, so it's really not that cup of tea. But you see it and you go, man, that is so fucked up. There are shipping companies that are not being paid. William Rebel, there's a lot going on in terms of what's going on in UK. It's not just about the drivers. It's not just about that. There's other stuff going on. There's obviously some other things that they just do not want to say and admit, because it would be having serious implications. It's always easier to say, we don't have enough drivers. That is really, you don't have any guy. You don't have a military that knows how to drive damn trucks and tanks. Don't you have? I mean, that's one of the roles that the military is supposed to be capable of fulfilling. Is Matt sailing to Cuba to find freedom and to take something? We're going to be keeping that private, but he's busy with stuff. But I don't think Matt's going to be sailing to Cuba. And he's going to be sailing, but I doubt it's going to be to Cuba. Many Americans, Fernando, in the middle part are patriotic. Jay. Of course, but again, with this polarized thing, you have half the country, pretty much half the country, give or take, right? But you have half the country that's full-blown patriotic Americans, and then you have the other half that just hate the country completely. So you don't, and this is very interesting. You have half the country that says America number one, America is the best country in the world, bar none. And then you have the other half of the country that goes like, this is the worst country in the world. This is the most racist, most hateful, worst country that ever existed, right? So you'd have, but usually when you ask like the average person, he's going to be going like, well, what do you think about your own country? Well, yeah, we're okay. We're good. And usually the more... the better off they are, the more humble they tend to be. Like, yeah, we're doing just. If you ask like anyone in Switzerland, they go like, yeah, we're doing just fine. We're doing okay. Even in places like pretty much across Latin America, even though we know it's bad, you still love your country. So you admit that there's a lot of things that are pretty bad, but you would not get away with doing what half the country is being indoctrinated with in the United States. That's even in schools. That is insane. They get the kids, of course they do, and it's insane that's being allowed it to happen. Those that are anti-America are being influenced by Marxist propaganda, and most Americans are appalled. I don't know if it's most, man. I think that it's divided almost 50-50 at this point. And there's and the polarized opinion spread from politics to social aspects to everything, brainwashing the children to hate their nation. You see, for example, brainwashing with a deprived agenda that you see it in other countries. That is indeed something that you see in other countries. And the more woke it is, the more you see that going on, like, trying to normalize what used to be, what was accepted as a disorder, right? And then you have countries like Hungary that just have laws against that, specifically about spreading that kind of thing among children. And so you have countries that are very based. Like the Hungarian president is a very base guy, and he takes no crap. In other countries, not so much. I think that the one where you see this kind of, is it the Furfeld minus the Bracken show? Yeah, Matt is, as I was saying before, he's busy with some stuff, but yeah, he's gonna be back. Don't worry. So this is one of the things you see more often in other places. The hate your nation thing, I haven't seen it a lot in our parts. I lived in Germany long enough to see a lot of self-loathing from the Germans. John Burnett. Well, yeah, I guess you have some of that, especially Germans that have been made to feel quite guilty about, well, the very well known facts that we all know about in World War II and such. So they have that kind of guilt thing. I don't see it in terms of hating your entire nation and hating your flag, your national anthem, everything about your country. Looking away from the flag during a sporting event or a competition where you're directly representing your country. Let me know if someone else has done that. I cannot think of it. I don't think it's happened recently in with German athletes. You see, for example, in UK, you see them bending the knee for the BLM crap. Woke signaling to the Olympics, Berlin 1932, Jesse Owens. Oh, Hitler was so mad. Yeah. The planned shortages are going to happen as people quit to avoid forced VAX. Well, that's another thing. One of the things that's not being mentioned is that some of these truck drivers from Poland that used to go and work, just bring a bit extra money. They just don't want to get it. If you look at the numbers, guys, this is very interesting. If you look at the numbers, half the population, the population in Poland is not getting it. Almost half the population. I think it's like 50. I think it's pretty accurate at 50%. They're just saying no thanks, and those guys just cannot get into UK without it. So they're not doing it. I mean, I'm not getting paid all that much. I have my beliefs, and I just don't want to get it. And why would I risk myself for this? So they're just saying thanks, but no thanks. One of the big mistakes I think that was made by the government in UK was thinking that, well, these guys will just come for a few more bucks, and they underestimated the Polish people. They thought that these were like illegal immigrants in United States, guys that just have, I have nothing to go back to. I just have no life other than this. And that is simply not the case for Poland. Poland may be a country that a lot of people may prefer to go work in UK for a while, then go back, build their houses in Poland or wherever. That's a kind of a popular thing to do, but they're not going to be doing absolutely anything you ask of them. So this was a bit too much. So yeah, sure, a lot of people choose not to go and work there, especially under those conditions and the special visa stuff and all that. It's, I'll just stay here, work for a little bit less money, or I'll just drive a truck in Germany or wherever and get paid pretty much the same. So that's part of what's going on. It's probably a bit worse than that in terms of other things. In terms of how is it that you control every single truck that goes in and out? And besides, anything that goes in and out through a truck, it's going through a tunnel. It's going through France. France is not gonna be all that helpful, given everything going on. They just got pretty much screwed with a contract that they used to have with Australia, and they're pretty pissed about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go like, yeah, we have to stop these couple trucks for a few hours. Oh, but you're going to be delaying like 1,000 trucks on the other end. Yeah, that's too bad, man. I'm excusez-moi, and they're going to be doing it anyway. And that's one of the things that you will not hear the British government say out loud, because it puts you in a pretty fragile situation. So they've got us by the balls. You mean like anytime they want to screw with us with the damn tunnel, there's nothing we can do about it? No, really there isn't, because it's going through their country so as to access yours. So that is a pretty delicate position you're now in. So yeah, but let's just say it's all about trucks and drivers, because it's less concerning than the other aspect, Yeah, let me go through some of the messages here. Move to rural areas. We still have pride in America. Frank Moore, of course we do. Yeah, I mean, uh, yes, sure. The thing is this: you have a lot of people that are, and you have a. I don't want to say half, but you have a lot of people, way too much people that are anti-American as Americans, which is a pretty unique and complicated situation to be in. Whereas Matt Bracken asks Kevin Swain, he's pretty he's pretty busy right now, but he'll be back. Don't worry. Please hit like and share. Thanks, man. Jack Spring, thanks for always there. Yeah, absolutely, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And I try to keep up with it with the channel as much as possible. Um, with videos, and there's a lot of older videos if you want to go check those. I mean, the channel is like 10 years old, man. Maybe older. I don't know. So it's been a while. It's Bracken on a UN meeting. Where is he? Hanging out with Freemasons. I doubt they're going to be inviting Matt to a UN meeting. He's not their kind of guy, I think. They're more like Prince Harry and Meghan Merkel kind of people. I'm a bot. Okay, man. I trust you there. Bracken is out on recon. He's making a list and checking it. Emmer, Mr. Deem. Clark Bar enthusiast. Furfall, I got my first gun a few days ago. Man, good for you. It just warms my heart whenever someone gets his first gun, or especially this happens a lot in my Spanish channel, which is it's been growing a lot. It's 200,000 subscribers in my Spanish channel, and I get a lot of people sending me messages saying, you know what, because of what you say, I started looking at things different. I'm thinking in a different manner now. Or you opened my eyes. I got myself a gun. Now I'm a prepper. So those things just make my day. I feel I'm actually doing some serious change, because I don't know how many of those messages I got really. It's pretty cool to feel that you actually did some good, and people are waking up because some of the things you said. Yeah, absolutely. First class coffee delivery, absolutely. Not everyone can move. No. Hey, there's a super chat here. Thanks, man. Eli gets it. Appreciate you and the fact that for the moment I can still do this. Love your drawings and street survival skills. Thank you for that, man. Thank you, Eli gets it. Thanks, dude, for a super chat. Really, just it's hugely appreciated. Of course, it's fantastic for the channel and support what I do. And well, you obviously bought the book, and I'm glad you liked it. I get some crap every once in a while, like those are like drawings by a 10-year-old. I actually won something drawing back in the day. Well, not drawing, but painting. So I used to be a pretty dedicated canvas and oil painter back in the day as a kid, and then as a younger adult. I did some of that. It's one of those weird things, painting. Then I went to watercolors, which is fast and it's good. But I used to do that quite a lot. And then in university, I used to teach architectural representation, sketching and drawing. So it's not that I'm a complete fool when it comes to that. But what I did for street survival skills was keep it very, very minimalistic in terms of the drawings. I mean, some of them are on purpose trying to be a little bit funnier, more cartoonish, just to make it more entertaining. Now, if you notice in the book, the more technical things like a proper grip in your gun or some of those things, I try to emphasize the things that matter the most and the ones that are more important with very basic, simple to understand drawing. So anyway, enough ranting, but thanks, man. I appreciate it a lot. So yeah, let me go back to the messages. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about the volcano there in a minute. I have some footage. Let me actually include it here since we're at it. Yeah, no, that won't do it. There it goes. Yeah, so check this out, man. This is from like a couple days ago. I did a little meme about this, an image from this, and I put like I plan to bug in, and nature saying hold my lava. I put it in my Twitter and in my Facebook as well. I mean, this is nature at its worst. I mean, you're planning on bugging in, and all of a sudden, it just screws your plans in ways you. I mean, it's a wall of burning rock. It's like twice as high as the actual house. And sure, I mean, and yes, this happens when you're living close to an active volcano. The ashes, though, of that plume may cover everything. It is quite impressive, though. So yeah, let me go through some of the questions here. Jack Spring, Matt is getting his yacht ready for the SHTF. He's always kind of ready, Matt. So your thoughts about La Palma, War Dog, man? Yeah, well, it's. I mean, if you live here, you have to be ready for this. I guess that anyone. But it's interesting. The psychology, the psychological aspect of this is you just don't want to accept this could happen. I mean, there's people crying their eye out because they lost everything. You lose absolutely everything. Your bug out location. I think there's a channel of a guy that actually lives there. So if your plan was I'm gonna be bugging out to this tropical island and growing my own food, sure. But the moment the volcano erupts, you have to get out of there. There's no I'm bugging in. I'm planning on bugging in when this happens. There's no bugging in when there's a lava river going down the side of the mountain. Matt is like the dude from They Live. Look at the symbol in the back of the dollar. Okay. Volcano collapses, a wall, lava flows stronger and faster. Yeah, well, there's also the possibility of I was reading right now, and Matt was mentioning this. I think in the previous the previous show last weekend, there is a possibility of a huge landslide going down, and tons and tons of square cubic kilometers going down and creating a huge tsunami that would pretty much flood all of the coast of the northern Atlantic. It is. I was reading today that it's kind of a low possibility, could happen, but you have to be ready. I mean, if you are close to the coast, that's something you want to keep in mind. Clark Bar Enthusiast says Mossberg 590 special purpose is the gun I got. If you were curious, thanks. Yeah, that's a cool gun. Nice gun, Mossberg. I have a couple Mossberg 500s. It's not the 590. The 590 is the military one, thicker barrel, right? So it's a bit of a nicer gun. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Mossberg. Great guns. I would look at getting a handgun next. Yes, I found after buying my first gun, a little family started, and I started stocking canned food. Good stuff. Jack Spring, everybody needs to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Things are going downhill fast. Yeah, I guess you could say that, and it's interesting to notice how it is different depending on where you are, but all around, I think just talking, getting some points here. I think food is going to be a problem, and by be a problem, I mean it's going to be more expensive than it is right now. And life in general is going to be more expensive, not just going to be food. I think we're going to be seeing a huge decline of quality of life all around. So if you're already struggling, I mean, so as to give you guys some practical advice here based on many years of being involved in this, what I would be looking at doing right now is making sure I can live well within my means. And by that, I mean, make sure you have a lot of room there for wiggle, because there's going to be a lot of wiggling going on. Food prices are going to be going up a lot. I mean, can you deal with double? I mean, are you living on half of the budget that you have the income that you have, or you're living paycheck by paycheck? That is a complicated situation to be in, and you want to find ways of making more money or spending less. And maybe that involves some life changes. Maybe that involves moving somewhere else where life is cheaper, or you just make more money. Either one works. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you have the same income, but you're living in a place that costs half as much to live, then that may be something you want to look into, because all of this is going to be happening pretty soon. I mean, it's already happening. Inflation is already doing a lot of damage. Uncle Bobbity says, finally caught you live. Really appreciate your hard work, Furfel. Thanks, man. Survival skills against the New World Order. Man, that is a book right there, right? Survival, surviving the New World Order. But you know what? Think of it that way. Think of it of whatever position you're right now in life. Think of it in your expenses going, doubling, tripling. How would you deal with that? If you're preparing so as to deal with that, you're gonna be probably a lot better when this continues to get worse. Jack Spring says the book is great, like the basic drawing. Thanks, man. Is Matt getting the sailboat out of dry dock? Yeah, he's working on his boat as well, Hail the Austrian pattern. What is it? Your skin color is your uniform. Yeah, that would be pretty bad, right? If we are getting into that position where, I mean, it used to be. Remember the days when we were being told, and I used to think that was a good thing. Don't judge people by the color of their skin, right? Remember those days? Now it's literally, we're gonna be judging everyone by the color of their skin. You're white, you're a piece of shit. You're an awful, racist, patriarchal crap human being because you're white. So literally judging you by the color of your skin. You're black, okay, then you need more incentives and you need an easier path in life, because you cannot possibly do it on your own because you have the wrong skin color, I guess, and it's one of those inverted racism or a good kind of racism, I suppose, in their own eyes. But we used to think that it was noble to judge people not by the color of their skin but by their character, right? Yeah, apparently not anymore. Let's all, hey, thanks, man. Jack Spring, 10 super chat there. Let's all support Fernando. He does every Sunday for us all. Thanks, man. I enjoy doing this. I'm pretty lucky, man. In life, I've been pretty lucky in general. Fantastic wife, fantastic family, great kids, and I do what I love doing. I never stop doing this. That's the thing. And sometimes my wife tells me, you never stop working, because for me, this is not work. This is a way of life. And I would even, passion. I don't know if it's but a bit of an obsession at times. Absolutely. Talking about good knives. I usually have mine here, which is pretty good. And you'll probably find someone is asking there, what's a good knife? Yeah, I will recommend my own, but Lightning McMimi says, what are some good knives? Some good knives, you have some, depends on the budget you have and what you're looking for. I like the Glock knives. Those are pretty affordable, though they've been going up in price. If you find it for like $30, I bought a bunch of them back then. Hultafors used to be quite affordable, still are. So Hultafors good knives as well. I think the Moras are a bit overpriced lately, I bought a Stanley knife. Well, not one. I bought like four. Yeah, as if I need more knives. But the Stanley knife that I have I have a video on that little knife. Very cool little knife. I paid like $4 or $3 or $4 for it. So stainless steel, more a type of Scandi grind, little blade, fantastic little knife. If you're looking for a serious, more heavy-duty survival knife, I'll recommend my own all day long because, I mean, I designed it myself and I know what it is. And it's made by Aitor, which is one of the more classic survival knife companies, made in Spain and by the steel that I selected myself. Its production right now is on N680, which is a fantastic steel. You will not find a better knife in terms of, well, the blade design it's what I like, obviously enough, but in terms of a knife, 5.5 millimeter thickness, stock of the blade, stainless steel, N680 Austrian steel. With the discount that it has right now, it's going for under $200. I don't think you're going to be finding knives on that same level very easily. Usually you find very good knives in 1095. Now, little secret, 1095 is the cheapest steel there is. It's good stuff. And you can even go even a little bit cheaper if you go like 1055, 1080 but it's all pretty much basic, classic carbon steel, which is good, but it does not have the same edge retention as some of the more expensive steels. But that's why the other steels cost, 10 times as much. And that affects the price. And that's why those knives are quite a bit more expensive. And these days, you will not find many of those under the 300, 400, even 500 budget knife. I've seen quite a bit of those, some of the fancier ones. So, yeah, I think it's a good deal. So, yes, absolutely. I'm struggling a little bit with the Aitor guys because, for example, they were not shipping to UK. I mean, my own brother wanted to buy my knife, and he just told me yesterday, dude, I cannot buy it because they were not shipping to UK for whatever reason. A guy in Ireland told me the same thing. So I'll get to them tomorrow and say, it's almost as if you don't want to sell it. You don't want to make money. What's wrong with you? Yeah, that goes against my religion. Stop feeding a troll. Yeah, I don't even know who it is. Okay, super chat here from Tanker Jack. Thanks, man. What's the status of South Africa? Seems America headed on the same path. Well, yes, I think it is, especially in terms of the reverse apartheid that's going on in South Africa, where whites. That's actually a good. Thanks, man, and thanks for bringing up it here. Besides the super chat, which is appreciated. Thanks for bringing up that point. You're seeing, it's unbelievable, but you're seeing America going in a South African way. The idea that whites are like a second or third class type of citizen, like your enemy. The same thing goes on in South Africa. They've made white people into third class citizens in South Africa. They live in shanty towns. They cannot get proper jobs. They just have no benefits. They're treated like crap. White people are treated like crap in South Africa, and they're discriminated against. And it is one of the most racist countries right now. South Africa is one of the most racist countries by far at this moment. And the media is not saying a word about this because it goes against the agenda. Look it up. Don't believe me. Look it up yourselves. And the documentaries of all of this, it's all out there. It's all public knowledge. Not only have they murdered white people in mass, they've stolen their land, rightfully owned. They're attacking them, destroying them, raping women left and right. And the country is a crap hole because it's being run by complete idiots and thieves, people that have no place running anything, let alone a government. But the reverse apartheid going on in South Africa has had the consequences that we've seen in some of those riots where they just started mass looting and burning and stealing everything. Unfortunately, this idea of white people being some of the most racist things are being said right now in YouTube, and YouTube is not saying anything about it. There's a video there that says, what are white people good at? and it's basically like the first half of the video is kind of like tongue-in-cheek insults towards white people, which okay, let's laugh about that. The other half of the video is hardcore racism, as if you're a subhuman kind of creature simply because you're white. And there's over 100,000 thumbs down in that video on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't do a damn thing about it, even though it goes against their own rules in terms of racism. That is a racist video, and they do nothing about it because it's the right kind of racism, you know. As long as it's racism towards white people, that's okay. It is disgusting, but it's what's allowed right now. It's the agenda. I Love Knives says, yeah. You're going to where Lord Leon thinks all food comes from stores. Wonder if he ever asked himself how he did 200 years ago. Mojo Palms 1 says, I love knives. I buy old culinary knives on eBay. I refurbish and sharpen them. Kind of a hobby. That's a nice hobby to have. Yes, and you can get some very cool things getting on older knives and on eBay and restoring them. That's quite nice. Boris last Rainbolt MO does too, but we got a Soros. Yeah, I don't know what that's going on. AK-47 gangs operating in New York City with white hate brewing. Yeah, white hate seems to be quite accepted these days. You're almost like a subhuman being if you're white in America right now, and in South Africa. Morgan Hort says, Fernando, do you buy? Yeah, I guess that's buy. Do you buy any Cold Steel products? Yes, I do. I bought some of the first Cold Steel products there ever was. Some of the earlier Cold Steels. I mean, I have my SRK is made in USA. Carbon 5 steel. That's a bit of a collector's piece now. Most of my Cold Steels would be collector type of knives these days because they're made in Japan, US. So, and I bought some of the, I bought recently some more. I like the older quality, maybe a little bit better, even though they've improved designs. The quality I think was better before. They certainly use better steels in their basic models back in the day, and now you have some fancy steel from Cold Steel, but it's a lot more pricey. It's quite a bit more expensive. But yeah, in general, I like Cold Steel. I don't know how it's going to be doing now that Lynn Thompson sold the company. Usually when they do that, when the company gets sold, it usually goes down pretty fast. It starts dropping in quality and standards and all that stuff. Once the real father of the creature is no longer there. Where do you live now? Says Patriot Preacher 43. As of right now, I'm living with my wife, and she's still putting up with me for the time being. So if things, I hope it stays that way for a while. No, man, I just try to keep a little bit of privacy and a little bit of, just not. Once the flag goes up, the rules all change. What flag would that be? Jack Spring are fighting with some Cold Steel push daggers are the bomb. Usually EDC one. Yeah, the K-Bar TDI is also very nice. The K-Bar TDI knife is pretty cool as well. Remember, deal with 3 million immigrants first. They worry. Well, you're being invaded right now, my man. You have a wave of immigrants. What is from Haiti, all over South America, Central America mostly, I would guess. And that is all. Well, we talk about this with Matt all the time. This is all planned. There's no accident. There's no mistake here. That's pretty obvious. And they just want to chip. I think that Tucker Carlson got into a bit of a problem there for saying they're trying to change the demographics. They probably are trying to do that. and mostly you're trying to change the votes. And they will. I mean, if they are the ones that are going to be reassuring these people that they'll have a right to stay there as long as they're elected, of course they're going to be voting that way. That is quite obvious. You're just bringing wave after wave of these people that are going to be voting just to stay there. And you know what? I'll be brutally honest with you again. They're going to be playing this game of the Democrats are going to be saying that if they win, they're going to be staying, and the Republicans are going to be saying, yes, if you will vote us, we're going to be kicking you out, knowing perfectly well that that's the dynamic in play, and that's going to be the way in which the Democrats actually stay in power in perpetuity. They're going to be staying there forever. And you know what? The Republicans, the good old boys from the Republican Party, they'll be perfectly happy and fine with that. They're not going to be missing a meal. They're going to be keep their mansions and all that stuff. They won't have any problem whatsoever. So they're going to be making this fake bipartisan game of, yeah, you can choose this one or the other, when in reality, it's all part of the same system. Okay? So, be smart about it. Find someone you can actually put a vote for and make something. One of the things these guys hate the most is the idea of there can only be two parties. You know the way in which things really change? When you have something else, when you have a third option, if it's always, and this is very American as well, the idea of you can only have two options, and those two options are always the same damn thing. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work. You should have a number of options. Anyone that is up there and it's going to be, I really like Ron Paul. I know some of you guys will shit on him, but I thought Ron Paul was spot on, pretty much on everything. He was, and these days the libertarians are a little bit more, they're mocked and kind of a joke sometimes, but back in the day, Ron Paul was, I mean, the country, just keep this in mind. The country would be a lot better if Ron Paul had won that election. Man, oh man, that would have been something to behold. Ferfal is in Gabon. Yes, exactly. Next week he's going to Angola. Wonderful places. Yes, absolutely. My favorite knife right now is a 1970 model Buck General. Buck makes some nice knives. They still do. So yes, I see that. Exactly why you prep and become competent with your firearms to force him bankrupt America. Knockface, man, always there. Thank you so much. Knockface has always been there supporting the channel. Thanks for the super chat, my man. Furfell, this week's false flag story of border guards on horseback whipping legals. Haitians, what is it? Haitians or Haitians? Yeah, Haitians. It was the big government MSM propaganda story fell flat on his face. Do you think the public at large are getting wise to this nonsense? You know what, Knockface? I don't think they are. I think that there's millions of dumbasses out there saying, oh, and by dumbasses, I'm talking about Americans thinking that America is crap because some story came out there about, oh, they're whipping poor black people. I would bet on this. There's millions of Americans right now that think that in fact officers on the border were whipping people, whipping black people. What was it? Motherfucker, Don Lemon, is it in CNN? Son of a bitch, that guy. They're whipping. I can barely hold the tears. This is happening again. They're whipping us. No, they're just riding a horse. But you know what? These people don't even know how to actually ride a horse. They don't even know what's involved in that. And they just see a piece of string or leather. They're being whipped. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of people fell for that. And even when they disprove and disclaim that, and there's proof that that's simply not true, it never happened, they will still choose to believe the fantasy they want to believe. I think that's about it. Guys, just one more minute, and I really got to go here. So, yeah, just last minute, and I'll be on my way. Well, this was pretty good. I think we covered a few things. Pure Blood Assembly. You're right, Mr. Smith. A few media heads pop, and there will be a C's there. Yeah, the rhetoric. people are waking up. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, again, I don't see people waking up. I mean, there's always a small minority of people that get it, and it's you guys, right? That's that's it. There's you guys and a bunch of us, but I think that unfortunately the majority of people fall for all this crap time and again. That's why we're in this mess. Apparently horses are racist too. Of course horses are racist. They have to be. Well, the worst horses are the white horses. If there's a white horse, yeah, that is the worst kind of horse you could possibly have. Modern day buck breakers, yeah. Something we can agree on, but make it deep state. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, the volcano thing, pretty concerning, and it could be, just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it in terms of what's happening. But if a chunk of that island goes down and you have a tsunami, you're going to be having maybe an hour, depending on when you hear the news. But there's cameras all day long on that volcano. You can watch it live all day. It's going to be kind of boring, but stay tuned and keep an eye on it. Just especially if you live on the coast, northern Atlantic, keep that in mind. Okay. So yeah, horses deserve 40 acres and a mule. God bless Fernando and you, Matt. Doing a great job. Thanks, man. Thanks, Frank Douglas. So yeah, that's gonna be it now, guys. I'm gonna be signing off and see you next week. Okay. Take care, folks. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.